Helo, noswaith dda, good evening, croeso I AMSER STORI eventer. Welcome to the Venture Story Time. For those of you who've been joining us already, you'll be well aware we've been reading The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy, and tonight is actually the last chapter. So this is the last chapter of Mildred's adventures. So let's have a quick recap and jump straight in to chapter 10. So we've met Mildred Hubble, who attends Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches, which is set in a castle atop of a misty mountain. She's friends with Maud, and like I say, they both go to Miss Cackle's Academy, and their form mistress is Miss Hardbroom. Now, Miss Hardbroom is a very strict and scary character. That's her there in Mildred's dorm room the night before they received their kittens, which is tradition at Miss Cackle's Academy for all of the students to receive a kitten. Then we have Ethel Hallow, who is a bit of a bully at the school, and Mildred and Ethel do not get on very well at all. So much so, as you'll see from that picture, Mildred actually turned Ethel into a pig, albeit by accident. She meant to turn her into a frog. Then we saw that Mildred often gets things a little bit wrong during her potions test. Mildred accidentally made her and Maud disappear rather than making a laughter potion. Then we found that Mildred's class was selected to do a broomstick formation for the Halloween celebrations, which did not go to plan at all. Ethel, the bully I mentioned before, cast a spell on the broomstick that Mildred used, which caused all of the girls to fall from the sky with their broomsticks, which kind of spoiled things. But everybody thought it was Mildred's fault, and it wasn't. It was Ethel. Mildred was that upset. Here she is in bed, very upset. She was that upset that she ran away. But as she ran away, she came across a group of witches in the woods who were planning to take over Miss Cackle's Academy and turn all of the girls into frogs. So Mildred cast a spell on them and turned them all into snails. And in the last chapter, we saw how it was actually Miss Cackle's sister who was leading that group of witches, and Mildred was sent off to bed while Miss Cackle and Miss Hardbroom dealt with the witches who were trying to take over the school. So we are dead up to date. That leads us up to this, the final chapter in The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. So make yourselves comfortable, grab yourself a hot water bottle and a drink. I've got myself a chocolate poist, a hot chocolate as usual. And we'll begin. Be sure to say hello, let us know you're watching so that we can say hello to you. But here we go, chapter 10. At noon, the rising bell clanged all through the corridors, but Mildred pulled the pillow over her head and went back to sleep. It wasn't long before the door of her room burst open. "Wake up, Mildred!" shrieked Maud, seizing the pillow and hitting her friend over the head with it. Mildred screwed up her eyes against the daylight and saw what seemed to be hundreds of people around her bed, all talking and shouting. Maud was actually on the bed, bouncing up and down. And there's a picture there of Maud jumping up and down on Mildred's bed, trying to wake her up. "What's the matter?" asked Mildred sleepily. "As if you didn't know," replied Maud, breathlessly from bouncing. "The whole school's talking about it." "About what?" said Mildred, who was still half asleep. "Will you wake up?" shrieked Maud, pulling the bedclothes back. I hate that. I hate it when somebody pulls the quilt off you. "You saved the whole school from Miss Cackle's wicked sister, that's all." Mildred sat bolt upright. "So I did," she exclaimed, and everybody laughed. "Miss Cackle's called a meeting in the Great Hall," said Dawn and Gloria, two other members of Form 1. "You'd better hurry and dress. She'll be expecting you to be there." Mildred jumped out of bed and her friends went off down the hall. She was soon ready and ran to join them, shoelaces trailing across the floor. Maud had saved a space for her and Mildred was embarrassed to notice that everyone had stared at her as she came into the hall. While they waited for the teachers to arrive, Mildred decided to tell her friend about Ethel. "Listen," she whispered, leaning towards Maud so that no one could hear. "It wasn't my fault about the display. Ethel cast a spell on the broomstick that she lent me, and I know because she told me. Don't tell anyone else though, will you? But I wanted you to know because I don't want you thinking that I was just being clumsy." "But everyone already knows," said Maud. "Do they?" exclaimed Mildred. "Well, who told them?" "Well, you know what Ethel's like," replied Maud. "She just had to tell someone how clever she'd been. She told Harriet, and Harriet thought it was a dreadful thing to do, so she told everyone else. No one's talking to Ethel now, and Miss Hardbroom found out too, and she was furious with her." "Shh!" someone said. "They're coming!" Everyone stood up as Miss Cackle came in, followed by Miss Hardbroom and all the other teachers. "You may sit down, girls," said the headmistress. "As you all know, the school narrowly escaped invasion this morning. Had it not been for a certain young member of the school, we should not be here, but we would be hopping around, turned into frogs." The girls laughed. "No, no, girls, don't laugh. It would not have been funny at all had it happened. However, as it did not happen, I proclaim the rest of today a half-holiday in honour of Mildred Hubble. Mildred, would you come up here for a moment?" Mildred went bright red and was pushed to her feet. She stumbled through the rows of chairs, tripping over feet as she went, and clumped across the platform to Miss Cackle's table. "Now don't be shy, my dear," said Miss Cackle, beaming. She turned to the school. "Come along, school. 3 cheers for our heroine Mildred. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!" Mildred blushed and twisted her fingers behind her back as cheers rang out. It was a relief to the heroine when it was all over. As they filed out of the hall, she was thumped on the back and congratulated by everyone, except for Ethel, who gave Mildred the nastiest look you've ever seen. "Good old Mill!" yelled someone. "We'll get out of the chanting test thanks to you," said someone else. "Thanks for the holiday! Thanks, Mill!" And so on. Maud flung an arm around her friend. "You did look embarrassed," she said. "You went ever so red. I could see you from the back of the hall." "Oh, don't," said Mildred. "Let's go and fetch the kittens and make the most of our holiday." "One moment," said a chilling voice that they knew so well. The 2 girls turned to find their form mistress standing behind them. They jumped to attention at once, wondering what they had done, which was a natural reaction whenever Miss Hardbroom spoke. This time, however, to their amazement, she smiled. A friendly smile, not like the usual curl at the corner of the lips. "I just wanted to say thank you, Mildred," she said. "Run along now, girls, and enjoy your holiday before it's over." She smiled again, and then vanished. The girls just stared at each other. "Sometimes," said Mildred, "I think she's probably not as mean as we think she is." "Perhaps you're right, Mildred," said Miss Hardbroom's voice from behind Mildred's ear, and the 2 girls jumped in horror. Mildred grabbed her friend's hand, and they hurried away down the corridor out into the misty playground, leaving Miss Hardbroom's laughter echoing from nowhere along the empty passage. And there's a picture of Mildred and Maud going off to their misty playground with their kittens. And there's a picture of Mildred with Miss Cackle embarrassed at the front of the school. And that is the end of that story. So I hope you've enjoyed The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. Now, you'll be pleased to hear, if you want to know more about Mildred Hubble, the story doesn't end there. You'll see there's a yellow book there which is called The Worst Witch Strikes Again. So this doesn't have to be the last time we hear from Mildred Hubble at Miss Cackle's Academy. But that's where we're going to leave Mildred for now. So I hope that you've enjoyed the journey to Miss Cackle's Academy. We'll have a brand new story coming to you tomorrow, so please keep your eyes peeled for what that's going to be. But for now, let's have a look who's joined us in watching tonight. So we've had John Hughes. Hello, John. How are you? Nicholas James is watching. Lindsay Bagnall. Lindsay! Hello to you, Lindsay. Karen. So Karen from the early years. Karen says hi. Hello, Karen. Lovely for you to join us. To me, this is really keeping me going. It's really nice to check in with you all every day and make sure that everyone is safe and well. Please get in touch. Let us know how you're doing, what you're doing, how are you enjoying being off school like Mildred. You're not on a half holiday, you're on a holiday. And how are you parents doing? I hope that you're coping well. Our advice would be to let children play. Children learn through play, they develop through play, and I think you should give yourselves a break. It's probably well needed. But yeah, please get in touch, send us your drawings, your stories, your pictures, anything that you've made. Send us photos, videos. We would love to hear from you. But for now, diolch am wylio, thank you for watching. Breuddwydion dda, sweet dreams, and nos da. Good night. Ta-ta rwan.